Welcome to the first ever edition of From the Vault. It's presented by the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. We are opening up our library of video and films of Canadian racing from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. Today we'll showcase the Grand Prix of Trois-Rivières from 1982. First up, though, a Transam event from Mosport from 1979, which was produced by Hall of Fame inductee Lawrence Partington. You'll see an interview with Sterling Moss and how he came to design the famed Turn 5. Enjoy.
Inside Racing, the very best in World Championship motorcycles. The very best in North American car racing. We'll show you what the trackside spectator never sees. We'll see the races, but also try to discover the secrets that are only revealed to those who are inside racing. Transam is the longest established racing series in North America, where American muscle cars take on the most sophisticated European GT machinery, with qualifying over the cars round Moss Corner on their pace lap. The start flag just half a lap away. But we've had some last-minute drama here just before the start of the race. We're profiling Ludwig Heimrath, a former Transam champion. He's been in the garage for the last few minutes changing a fuel pump, and he's just now got on the track behind the rest of the field. Ludwig has not had the best of luck so far this season, but if effort and experience are what it takes for a return to victory lane, then he'll most certainly be there. And we're hoping to watch him do just that today on Inside Racing. Transam drivers are different. Sometimes young chargers on their way through to formula cars, sometimes older men who've done it all, but always enthusiasts, men like Ludwig Heimrath. Ludwig, you've tried a lot of forms of racing in your career. Why Transam racing with the Porsche?
Oh, I like sports car racing. Most of the racing I did in my life, I tried formula cars, Indianapolis cars, and I tried sports racing cars, like the Can-Am cars called Group 7, and then I got back into sports cars again. I think the sports car category is more of my taste because it's more competitive, I think. You can run closer together, you can even rub fenders if you want to, if you get that close, and you cannot afford it in any other cars.
Obviously, it's very expensive. I mean, if you say $250,000 in the car, with all the traveling you do, all the races you go to, can you expect to recoup that kind of loss in a season?
No, you can't. You have to recoup it in advertising you do, using it as an advertising or promotion basis, and that's where you're going to recoup the money you spend. We're using it strictly as advertising because it's the only advertising we do. And I think we're recuperating at what we spend in our racing series. We just about doing even with what we would spend in advertising.
U.S. driver John Paul, like Heimrath, drives a similar turbo Porsche, and they have dogged each other the whole season. But while Heimrath is a master at Mosport, Paul is a newcomer on a track many considered to be the most demanding in North America. For somebody who's never raced on this track before, what good piece of advice could you offer him if he was just showing up here for the first time?
I get a lot of practice. The track is very tricky. It's got a number of off-camber turns, particularly turn 2. And if you do go off the track or you go into a turn a little too heavy, hot and heavy, it's easy to slide out off on the marbles on the outside of the track and wind up on the guardrail. So this track requires, I think it's more a driver's track than a lot of racetracks we run on. So local knowledge and just lots of time on the track will help you. This particular race, Ludwig Heimrath is starting on the front row next to me. He's a local favorite. He knows the track real well. He and I have run real close together the whole season. And if he should go well anywhere, it's right here. This is his home track. So I think I tried real hard, and I didn't qualify. I'd qualify him by very much. I think the two of us are going to have a heck of a race going. And I'm just going to try to get away early, but I don't know if I can.
The Porsche is the ideal Trans Am car. It can be bought race-ready, over-the-counter. To compete against it means starting from scratch, something Mo Carter has done. Oh, I took a close look at your Camaro earlier in the day, and about the only thing that looks like it's off a street Camaro are the taillight covers in the rear. What have you done to develop this car?
Well, it's a racing car, Paul. It's not a Camaro as such. It never has been on the street or anything of that kind. About the only really stock things in it are the frame, which have to be stock, and a number of the engine pieces and things of that kind, but everything else is handcrafted. It's a race car. It weighs only 2,250 pounds, or can weigh that little, which is about 1,200 pounds less than, say, our old race car, our old race Camaro. But it's designed to beat the Porsches. That's all it's here for, is to beat Porsches. We hate Porsches. And we designed it on that basis, and that's the reason we put it together. And
Racing in a place like Mosport against the Porsches, what sort of strategy will you use to go into the race?
I don't know what I'll do now, because the engine we're putting in has a little less horsepower than the one we're taking out. So I would think probably I would sit on the tail of both Heimrath and Paul, who have the two fastest Porsches, and wait for them to make a mistake. And I would try to stay close to them. Our earlier strategy with the other engine was to go hell bent and try and get the pole and try and leave them. But that's had to change somewhat, and while we haven't made a final decision, I think we better wait till we get the engine in before we finalize anything.
Carter, like Heimrath and Paul, is a big-budget racer, but Transam also caters to the less affluent, men like Bill Adam. Bill, your Corvette runs in Category 1, but there are Corvettes running in Category 2 as well. What's the difference between them?
Essentially, the Category 1 cars are more of a production-based type of a car. We have to stay virtually by the production car rules for building this vehicle. All the components that are in use are right as they come from the factory. They're obviously very, very heavy-duty items, but they are the same. Category 2 cars are completely different in that they can change the suspension components, the drivetrain, totally. They're much, much lighter cars. They usually have much more powerful engines and accordingly go much faster as well.
Since the Category 2 cars are faster, do you ever feel like a second-class citizen back in the field having your own race?
There's a little bit of it, I suppose, comes through, because it's always nice to have a first overall victory. That always feels good. But usually in the Category 1 racing, the fields are so competitive that we don't really have problems worrying about it. We just go out and have as good a race as we possibly can and worry about that.
From the Vault is brought to you by M-Zone, premium auto care proudly owned and made by Canadians. By Recap Recovery Drink. By WeatherTech. For the perfect fit and ultimate in-vehicle protection, nothing protects like WeatherTech. Order online at weathertech.ca. And by the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. Visit our website for hall merchandise.
The pace lap came to an end. John Paul drove alone at the front. Heimrath, who had spent a last frantic hour fixing his car, entered the race at the back during the pace lap and sat behind the whole field. But as the cars crossed the start line, Heimrath's white Porsche came around corner 9, going very slowly. He entered the pits. At the front, Paul led with Mo Carter, the Porsche hater, just behind. Frank Joyce's Corvette in third, the leading Category 1 car. At Moss Corner, where the track turns back towards the start, the order was unchanged. Behind Joyce was Bill Adam, his closest Category 1 challenger. Into the S's at the end of the back straight, John Paul still held the Camaro at bay, with Joyce and Adams still in third and fourth positions. Meanwhile, in the pits was an extremely angry Ludwig Heimrath. What happened with the car?
I had a problem. I wanted to get back into the. They waited for me till I got the car finished, and they waited for me to get back into it. And there's a Mustang out there, a blue white Mustang, and he took me off the track about 5 times, and it just wouldn't let me by, and just wouldn't let me get into it. And then he ripped my oil line off because he pushed me right off the track, and that cost me the engine blow up.
Like a caged lion, the frustrated and furious Heimrath paced the pit area, but his day was over. In trouble early was Klaus Beitzek, a local enthusiast, a man who may never win a major race, but will always enjoy himself. At corner 2, the most difficult of the corners at Mosport, someone was off the track, obscured in a cloud of dust. While John Paul's Porsche still enjoyed a lead over Carter's Camaro. The dust cleared. The car off at corner 2 was revealed as that of Bob Zolkowski, whose trip from California had brought little success. Meanwhile, in Bill Adams' pit.
Dave, so far, Bill's second in his class and fourth overall. Is it going according to plan so far?
Yeah, he's running exactly as we figured. We're hoping that some of the cars that are in the front, preferably Frank Joyce, maybe will have some trouble or get into some mistakes. Bill is going to run second. He's planning on running second position behind Joyce just to keep enough pressure on him until about halfway through the race, and then he's going to make a move on him. What he's doing now is actually pacing the race. He's pacing the Category 1 cars.
But what was the story from the pit of Adams' rival, Frank Joyce?
You're in radio communication with Frank. Has he talked to you at all since the start of the race?
No, he said nothing yet, which we will assume means everything's okay so far.
You're running according to plan. Is this what he wants to do, is stay in front of Bill Adam?
Excuse me. Yeah, hopefully we'll stay ahead for the entire race. I really don't know what his plans were. Things seem to be good right now. So far, so good. We'll hope it lasts.
Good. Thanks, Mike.
But the interest of the crowd was focused on the bigger, faster cars of the Category 2 race. At corner 5, Moss Corner, John Paul still led. The corner is a tricky double bend that requires particular care, as I discovered earlier.
Sterling, this corner up here under the bridge is one of the fastest portions of the track, and it leads into one of the slowest areas, a corner, oddly enough, named Moss Corner.
Yeah, well, that's not my fault, but let me tell you how that happened. The point was, when I arrived here, as you say, it's a very interesting corner, because this, again, is another blind one. But when I arrived, I said to them, look, don't make a hairpin. It's a very uninteresting corner. Let's try and make it into 2 corners, which now you've got one corner here, and you've got to let the car go over to the left. Then you've got a short straight, although it's taken as 1 corner, and then you've got another right angle, which is a bit tighter. And then you start the straight, of course.
How much problem does it present coming up here when it's blind, when you're under braking and you have to turn into a slow corner?
Well, the one thing about it is slow. And when you get a slow corner like this, you get people being brave, and therefore they're doing an awful lot of action. You're going to see more action here normally than anywhere else, because people will oversteer, they'll put the brakes on a bit late maybe, and it goes wide. But it should be taken in one gentle curvature with a lot of horsepower. You put a lot of power in, and of course the car does go out wide, and there's this sort of lip on the edge and everything. And it's a pretty interesting corner, actually.
At the end of the back straight, as speed cut from 170 miles per hour, John Paul negotiated the S's in front of Carter's Camaro. At 54, Carter is scarcely typical, but in Trans Am, who is? As Carter forced his Camaro in pursuit of John Paul, he approached corner 2, a corner universally feared, or at least respected, by all the drivers.
What makes this corner so difficult?
Well, it's difficult to explain, but when you come into it, you'll see what I mean. You can see the blind brown. Now, at the moment, you can see it fairly easily because you've got the banks. But when you're coming this direction, there's nothing. You're setting up into a skyline with no feature at all. That's difficult. You have to decide where you want your apex to be, and whichever place it is likely to be wrong. If it's wrong, you're in trouble. But the important thing here is to try to get the car in the right place, and when you land, don't sort of turn, because if you do, it's light, and you've got to get the back end, and you're going to spin down here.
So this is the type of corner that takes enough nerve that separates a champion from just a guy in the back of the field?
Well, I like to think it's not nerve. I like to think it's experience that helps you, because nerve, you don't want too much nerve, but equally, this is probably the most difficult corner in North America, actually. Very difficult one.
competition was still fierce as drivers employed their various strategies, some forcing, some waiting. For Bill Adam, still second in Category 1.
Bill seems to be closing the gap between himself and Frank Joyce. Is this all part of the plot?
Yes, Paul. 2 years ago when he won, he got as far as 12 seconds down and still came back and won. At this point, it's fairly early in the race, we're not too worried.
Some would say a driver of Bill Adams' ability has a talent to be in bigger, faster cars. He's a working man who drives part-time only.
Some of the drivers you run against are race drivers as a profession. But for 5 days a week, you work in the insurance business and you turn into a race driver on a weekend. So what kind of handicap does that put you under?
It's a handicap, definitely, but fortunately I seem to adapt fairly quickly to the car once I get back into it, and that helps me a great deal. The biggest single handicap, obviously, is when you're out of the car, or when you're out of any sport for that matter, you lose the touch and the very fine edge that you develop by the constant exposure to whatever you happen to be doing. So it does take me a little bit longer than it normally would to regain that fine edge, and it takes a little while to build up to the maximum speed.
Suddenly, Joyce was in the pits, incredibly in this short race, to take on fuel.
Why did Frank come in that time?
Well, we've had some fuel feed problems throughout the weekend. It seems that when the tank is less than full, there's starvation problems. We're not sure exactly what the problem's been. Thought we had it worked out this morning, maybe not. Obviously not.
Think you'll last a race?
We hope so. It's hard to say. It's a funny problem. It's not been our best weekend, but the season hasn't been too good for us either, so we're getting used to this, but we're still trying.
John Paul's car continued to lead overall, lapping with that effortless reliability that in motor racing circles has become synonymous with Porsche Turbo. Racers are usually dedicated, serious men whose whole lives are devoted to winning races. What then motivates a man like Bill Adam?
We do it to have fun. That's our primary reason. We want to continue having fun, and if it gets to the stage that even if we are making money at racing but not having fun or not enjoying it, we'd quit. Simple as that.
Paul rounded the S's, now with a comfortable lead over Carter. Both cars were running well, something that couldn't be said of Paul Canary's Corvette, which passed seemingly under steam power.
Rob, Bill seems to be a little long overdue. You getting worried?
Well, obviously, Paul, when anything comes in over, even 3 or 4 seconds, one starts to get worried, and the PA announcer says he's perhaps off at corner 5, so we'll just have to wait and see.
Their driver missing, tension in the pits reaches its peak. Fear for his safety, rumors. But on the track, not at corner 5, but on the outside of corner 3, Bill Adam is out of the car, unharmed. While others pass, Bill removes his helmet as the new leader in Category 1 goes by, Gene Bothello in another of the ubiquitous Corvettes. 9 of the 16 Category 1 starters did so in Corvettes, a car made for Transam racing, if ever there was one. And Mo Carter, the Porsche hater, steadily giving ground to the leader. Nonetheless, his is the only car still circulating in Category 2 that isn't a Porsche.
Mo's currently in second place. How's the engine holding up that you replaced only a few minutes ago?
Well, he's been twisting it pretty high. He's been trying to catch the leader at the beginning, and he's kind of backed off a little now, so if we can finish second, we'll be happy. Definitely not putting out the horsepower that we wanted, but it is a smaller engine, so we can't expect miracles.
In the lengthening shadows, the race progressed. In some, hopes still ran high. For others, the day was over.
Oh, Bill, there's not going to be any champagne or caviar when this day's over. What happened to you?
Was getting a fair bit of a brake problem right from the opening lap. on the grid, and I was just sitting out there. I tested the brake pedal, and the thing went to the floor on me. Not the good thing to give you a lot of confidence starting a race, but I decided before I'd panic, I'd just see what happened on the pace laps. Once the motor was running, he developed a lot more braking pressure. So I was able to get the brakes back up on those pace laps, but something was obviously amiss because it was locking the right front wheel quite badly, and I suppose it got to the point where it just flat wore through the tire, and it finally blew going into turn 3, so we hit the concrete barrier quite hard, and that's why we're out of the race.
How do you feel?
A little groggy right now, but I'm okay. I'll make it.
Courage, resilience, guts. Even for the part-time racers like Bill Adam, these are qualities necessary to overcome such disappointments and return to the racetrack once again to seek triumph. In the JPR Porsche, the race enters a new phase. His pursuers comfortably behind, the smell of victory ahead. John Paul must change his tactics. He knows that the race, the racetrack, and his car are all changing as the laps hurtle by. The last lap, nearly 100 miles behind. Only one lap of the 2.5-mile Mosport track still remaining. John Paul laps for the third time Barthelo's Corvette, which still leads a Category 1 race. Carter, too, now has less than a lap to go. In the car, perhaps the driver wonders how different things might have been if the first-choice engine had been fitted. But in racing, second is second, and second only. Excuses don't count. Victory now within his grasp, John Paul rounded Moss Corner for the last time. Now he can feel the victory, taste the champagne, hear the accolades, revel in the adoration that are the just rewards of winners in this most demanding of all sports. Carter's pit crew, who had strived so hard all day, were justly jubilant. Today, his second place belonged equally to them. Victory lap, the appreciation of the crowd to John Paul. And to Gene Barthelo, the winner of the Category 1 race.
Well, you've just seen the most exciting and awesome sports and GT cars seen in North America. I'm standing here this afternoon in Victory Lane, but I'm all alone. We'd expect to have Ludwig Heimrath in his number 7 Porsche with us, but he went out early in the race. Then we expected to see Bill Adam in his Corvette, but such was not the case. Racing is a chancy business, as you've seen today. Next week, we'll have a look at another exciting facet of motorsport on Inside Racing.
Great seeing the old Mosport circuit. Hall of Fame inductees Bill Adam, Ludwig Heimrath, and Mo Carter took part in this Trans Am event. Next up, we've got the 1982 Grand Prix of Trois-Rivières, showcasing Trans Am, Formula Atlantic, and the big Can-Am beasts.
Today on CTV's Wide World of Sports, we present an afternoon of North America's fastest and most spectacular racing cars, the Grand Prix Labatt de Trois-Rivières. This is Trois-Rivières, Quebec, a normally quiet French-Canadian village near the shore of the St. Lawrence River. However, today, the streets have been barricaded, banked, and barriered to form a devious road racing circuit. There's over $200,000 at stake for 3 classes of race cars. First, there's the flat-out excitement of Trans Am competition, followed by the precision of 1600cc Formula Atlantic, and then the 5-liter roar of Can-Am as they squeeze their oversized bodies through this tight road course. And the favorite here is homegrown Jacques Villeneuve. He'll drive a brand new untested Osella, just flown in fresh from Italy. But first, the Transam race. 20 cars starting this race for $48,000. On the pole, the left of the screen, Elliott Forbes Robinson's number 55, the White Firebird. Beside him, Montrealer Richard Spinard, and Spinard edges out in front on the first turn. Yes, closes the door on Robinson. They head for the Hippodrome, a place normally reserved for horse racing. It looks as if Richard is already pulling out a good lead over Elliott Forbes Robinson, but Robinson might be taking it easy this early because his tires are probably not up to racing temperatures yet. These tires should be around 200 degrees Fahrenheit to give the car the proper traction. Elliott Forbes Robinson's teammate, number 50, Epi Weetzes, is not having any trouble. He's pulled out to pass Phil Curran in the black Corvette. Let's see if he got through. Yes, it's Spinard, Robinson, Weetzes, and Curran. And there's some action for sixth place as the cars break for this tight left-hander. And look at the lead that Spinard has opened up. Spinard uses all of the road and the sidewalk as he prepares to enter Ryan Corner. Now this is the tightest part of the track and the entrance to Trois-Rivières, the new pit area. It's still Richard Spinard, number 0 in the lead, followed by Elliott Forbes Robinson's 55. Canadian Epi Weetzes, who won this event last year, is third, and then Phil Curran from Florida in the 99 Corvette. And behind him is Spinard's teammate, number 4, Darren Brassfield. Back at Villeneuve Corner, some of the other cars are using a lot of the track. Oh no, look, there's an accident. Number 14, Doc Bundy from Gainesville, California. He's third in the Trans Am point standings and finished for the day. Oh, he really had the door closed on him. A tough way to end the day on that first lap. Well, Doc Bundy may be having problems, but Phil Curran hasn't. He just passed Epi Weetzes, and Elliott Forbes Robinson moves him up to second spot. It doesn't look like Elliott Forbes Robinson is going to give up easily. He's up beside Curran on the long back straight. No, he doesn't make it. And the leaders are now lapping some of the back markers. So it's Richard Spinard, Curran, Elliott Forbes Robinson, Epi Weetzes, and Darren Brassfield. You know, it'll be interesting to see if the Corvette can close the gap on Spinard's Trans Am. It was a Corvette driven by Epi Weetzes that won here last year. By the way, this part of the track was newly named earlier today after the late Gilles Villeneuve. So it's Villeneuve Corner, followed by Villeneuve Street. Oh, and look at these cars with their right front tire lifting right off the pavement. And here's Ludwig Heimrath Sr. He's into the pit, but he does not look pleased. Oh, big sideways spin by number 51, Richard Reynolds of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Now, the other drivers cannot see him around the corner. The yellows are waving. Phil Curran is by safely, but no Richard Spinard. He's obviously gone out on the back straight. Now, that's too bad. He looked like a sure winner with that impressive lead. And here's the other member of the Heimrath father and son team, Ludwig Heimrath Jr. out of the Porsche. In the meantime, 55, Robinson has been passed by number 50, Epi Weetzes. And Epi is right on the bumper of that new leader, Phil Curran. I think Epi Weetzes is setting Curran up. They're coming into Duplessis Port. It's one of the landmark locations here at Trois-Rivières. Well, Epi did set Curran up. He's by him just before the corner. What a move by Epi. And have we got a battle for the lead going on now? Here are two cars having their own personal battle. Number 36, Paul Miller in a 924 Porsche Turbo in fourth spot, and Darren Brassfield back in fifth. You never know what's going to happen in this form of racing. I'll tell you, there are so many walls, narrow corners, and curves, and they all seem to close in on you here. And look at this. Curran must have problems. Elliott Forbes Robinson has gone past Phil Curran and taken over second in these closing laps. So it's now Weetzes, number 50, Robinson, 55, Phil Curran, 99, and he has really dropped back. Well, I wonder what's going through the minds of these two leaders. Is it teamwork or pass me if you can? We talked to Robinson about Epi Weetzes earlier.
I need points this weekend, and if he can help me, I would appreciate it. But Epi is also going to race for himself this weekend, but knowing that if towards the end of the race something comes up where there's a problem, he is only driving 2 races, not for points, and hopefully we'll work something out. But at this moment, there's nothing other than he's going as quick as he can and doing the best job, which is very, very good for his first time in the car.
Well, Elliott Forbes Robinson is trying Epi down the straight. Will he get him? No, he tucks in behind. It's do or die now. We're on the last lap. Now, on the long back straight, it's Elliott Forbes Robinson on the right of your screen, and yes, he wins the drag race as they come into corner number 11. So, it's Elliott Forbes Robinson, number 55, and Epi Wietz's, and we can only speculate as to whether or not Epi let Robinson by, but it would be my guess that he did. There's the leader, Elliott Forbes Robinson. He's won 3 Trans Am races this year and looks to be headed for another first-place finish. At 38 years old, it looks as if EFR might sew up the championship with this win. Now, he's no stranger to the winner's circle at Trois-Rivières. He won 2 Can-Am races here in 78 and 79. So there it is, Elliott Forbes Robinson first, Canadian Epi Wietz's second, and look at this man, or should I say his left front tire. Number 36, Paul Miller, now in 3rd spot in his 924 Porsche Turbo, and what a spectacular way to end this Labatt Trans Am race. Number 47, Wayne Harper is 4th, and an unfortunate Phil Curran is 5th. Let's go down to the presentation in the winner's circle.
And now, the winner from North Carolina, Elliott Forbes Robinson.
A very happy winner, Elliott Forbes Robinson. And if you enjoyed that Trans Am event, then don't go away, because we have more coming up next. The Labatt Formula Atlantic race here on CTV. Welcome back to Trois-Rivières and the Labatt Formula Atlantic race. 19 cars will start, going 48 laps for $40,000. These cars will take a standing start, waiting for the green light, just as the Formula One cars do. As a matter of fact, the bodywork is very similar to Formula One, but the engines are about half the size. And they've got the green light. Marino gets the jump on Price Cobb into the first corner, followed by Gantz and McMillan. Oh, there's a spin. Most of the field through safely. Can't make out who spun here, but number 39, Peter Greenfield, has crashed into him. Now, the marshals are telling them to turn off their engines. I think it's Mike Rosen in that lead car. He's decided to leave. Cars are passing on the long back straight. Now, this is a great place for passing. Number 41, David McMillan, is hard on the brakes in the white car. He shadows Whitney Gans in 3rd. Number 34, Marino, the leader, and Cobb in the number 22 car really going at it, as are Gans and David McMillan. Now, Marino was no stranger to racing. He had a Formula One testing contract. He's raced Formula 3 in Europe, and I wonder how he'll do on this street course today. There's McMillan lining up Gans for a pass in the short straight to corner number 2, and yes, he's made it by into 3rd spot. Now it's number 34, Marino, number 22, Cobb, 41, McMillan, 13, Gans, number 12, Norm Hunter, and number 7, Dan Marvin. All 6 drivers in Ralt cars, by the way. Oh, there's the first casualty. Alan Berg out of Calgary. He's into the pits on 3 wheels. A victim, I guess, of the walls and curbs here. Always a problem on street courses. Here's Dave McMillan in number 41. He's in 2nd place in the North American Formula Atlantic Championship point standing, has 81 points, so McMillan wants to place well here at Trois-Rivières to take over that championship lead. And there's a driver who won't place well. It's number 13, Whitney Gans from Los Angeles. He's into the pits and pointing to his right front tire. Well, the team are ready for him. They're set up to do a tire change, but it's going to be a tough charge back to the front in this event. It's now Marino, number 34, followed closely by Cobb, number 22, McMillan, 41, and Dan Marvin, number 7, who's 5th in the championship point standings. We had a chance to talk to Dan about this track earlier today.
It's a difficult course. There's no time to rest. Lots of corners, lots of gear changes. Probably twice as many gear changes here as, say, at a track like Mosport or even more than Long Beach. There are just no long straights. It's a real workout. Also, the surface is not getting any smoother, and the cars, ground effect cars as they are sprung very stiffly, and they bang you around inside pretty well. So it's going to take a lot out of us.
Some good impressions by this driver as number 34, Marino, leads the race. Oh, wait, I think Marvin has made a mistake. He's off the track at the end of the S's at the Hippodrome and back on again, safely signaling a car to pass him. Oh, now we have a car into the wall at Villeneuve Corner. Number 56, Ross Bentley out of Surrey, BC. Now Ross is moving. He appears to be fine. He's now trying to get out of the car, and he'll get safely over the wall. Yellow flags are up. 1 lap to go for number 34, Roberto Marino. But number 22, Price Cobb, is pitted because of electrical problems. So it's now number 41, David McMillan, 37, Briggs, 14, Garza, and 19, Moore. Garza and Moore tied in the Formula Atlantic Championship for 6th place overall. That's Roberto Marino, the leader, and there's Brian Robertson, Marino's team owner, on the left, along with some of the crew members, and they must be very pleased indeed today. And here's the man that's made them happy, Roberto Marino, around Ryan's corner, and then Villeneuve Corner, on to the Villeneuve Straight. It's the checkered flag for Marino, and the winner's share of $40,000, and he made it look, oh, so easy today. Holding on to second place, David McMillan in the number 41 Pan Am Ralt. McMillan has been around for a long time. He was a mechanic when Gilles Villeneuve raced in this series, so he knows the cars and tracks well. And third and fourth go to John David Briggs, number 37, and Jose Garza, number 14. A very exciting race, but Formula Atlantic has always been popular here at Trois-Rivières, so let's go to the presentation area for the trophy.
And now, the winner, du Brésil, Roberto Marino. Hey!
Roberto Marino gets the winner's wreath. And there are some other happy men here today. Here's Danny Sullivan sharing a moment with his team owner, Paul Newman, previous to the Budweiser Can-Am feature. Al Unser Jr. riding side saddle, the Roman Wheels 5-liter car, and we'll be back with the roar of Can-Am from Trois-Rivières in just a moment. Welcome back to the Budweiser Can-Am at Trois-Rivières, Quebec. On the pole is number 1, Al Holbert. Beside him, Danny Sullivan. And here's Pierre Desjardins, president of Labatt Limited, making the ceremonial wave-off for the 27 starters in this Budweiser Can-Am. We spoke to Danny Sullivan, who's second in qualifying, about his team owner and sponsor.
People at Budweiser are great. They are very pro everything here at Newman Racing. Paul is a great boss, particularly because he's a driver himself. He understands when there's a problem. He understands that there's problems with the car and that there's reasons, for example, that we haven't won any of the first 4 races. He can see it, so he's a little bit more understanding. Also, it can work the other way. He can also know when you're giving him too much of an excuse. But he's number one, he's an enthusiast and a fan, and he loves racing, so he's a great guy to work for. And again, the Budweiser people are all behind it because of him and because of what we do for them.
Here is the start, and we'll see what Danny can do for them. Al Holbert on the left has pole position, but Danny Sullivan trying to out-drag him into the first corner. Holbert almost touches the wall, but he chops Sullivan off at corner 2, and Villeneuve up to 4th spot past Al Unser Jr. Oh, that was a great start, almost ear-shattering. And they seem to have settled down now. It's Holbert, number 1, Sullivan, number 5, Morton, number 46, Villeneuve, number 33. But I don't think Jacques Villeneuve will be able to stay in 4th for long. The other cars have too much power. There's a pass by number 15, Al Unser Jr. on number 33, Villeneuve. Coming in behind Villeneuve is the British Formula One champion for 1982, Jim Crawford. He's driving his Formula One car with some extra bodywork on it, and should be interesting to see how a Formula One car goes against the Chevy-powered 5-liter Can-Am cars. Well, all this big machinery getting through safely, it would appear. Oh, no, there's a problem of looking in your mirrors too much. Number 46, John Morton, giving up 3rd spot to Al Unser Jr., and he leaves some bodywork on the track at the same time. The end of lap 1, and for the most part, everyone got through safely. The 5-liter cars seem to be having trouble pulling away from Jacques Villeneuve's smaller engined auto. Now, Jacques is driving a 2-liter car. There are 2 classifications in this race, 5-liter and under 2 liters. And because this course has so many tight corners, the smaller cars are able to make up the power loss by taking the corners faster than the 5-liter cars. There's number 69, Bertil Roos's 2-liter car. He's right behind the more powerful machine of Jim Crawford, number 73, and they're running in 6th and 7th place. Al Unser Jr. is trying the Budweiser number 5 of Danny Sullivan, but nope, he elects to hold on to third place. Unser looks like he's being held up by Sullivan, and the front runners are stretching out their lead. There's John Morton, and now Jacques Villeneuve in his number 33 Osella, a car that's virtually untried except for a few laps of testing. Holbert into Ryan Corner. Oh, Unser is passing Sullivan on the inside. What a daring move for this 20-year-old out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. I think he's picked up some racing smarts from his father, who's a 3-time Indy 500 winner. So the race order now is number 1, Holbert, 15, Unser, 5, Sullivan, number 46, Morton, and number 33, Jacques Villeneuve. Jacques is right on Morton's tail through corner 1. Oh, what a great move. Shows the versatility of this quick Osella. He's up to 4th place. Jacques is right at home at this track, as are the thousands of fans who are here to support their local hero. But he looks like he's slowing down. Yes, he is. He's heading into the pits with what appears to be rear wing troubles here. So Villeneuve out at DePaille corner into the pits. That wing is bent. He must have touched the wall out there somewhere. We missed that particular incident. Well, they've flown in mechanics from Italy to look after Villeneuve's machine, and they're going to work on that car right now. They're trying to tape up the wing. That is the wrong angle, no question. A good chance here of losing traction on the course, so you've got to correct the problem. Great crowd. Almost shirt-sleeve weather, by the way, to watch this 60-lap race for $128,000. Now, that's a lot of money. And here we are, Jacques Villeneuve now out of the pits. Race order at this stage. Holbert, Unser, Sullivan, Crawford. And passing these back markers could be dangerous. They could lose a position here. This could really be a test as to the talents of the people that are running up front in this event. Al Unser's all over Holbert as they head down into Ryan, one of the tightest parts of the track. Look at that move by Unser, and it literally puts Al Holbert into the wall. No major damage in the Holbert machine, but Unser with an unbelievable move, 3 cars abreast in the corner, has really gained advantage here. Let's have a look at that one again. Here's Al Unser. He moves back, 4th. He's now on the inside, just tapping Holbert. Enough to move Holbert over just a touch on the wall. Holbert's car still appears to be okay, but Unser definitely gaining the advantage there. Now, Jacques Villeneuve is into corner number 5 at the Hippodrome. Here's a very dangerous spot on the track. Notice how the marshals now go to work. They're watching the rest of the traffic coming up. And at this point, yellow flags waving. Jacques Villeneuve will retire. Holbert makes a smart move. He's now heading for the pits for his mandatory pit stop. Crew are ready with those gas cans. Now, races are won or lost sometimes on these stops, but Holbert picked a good time. There are yellow flags everywhere. It means no passing. 7.3 seconds to gas up. Not bad. Now he's free to continue racing while the other 5-liter cars must make their one gas stop. We'll be back with more in a moment. Welcome back to more of the Budweiser Can-Am. It's now Unser, number 15 in first. Holbert, number 1 second. Sullivan, number 5 third. And Jim Crawford's number 73 in fourth. Jacques Villeneuve, who was going well at the beginning of this race, was forced to retire. And one man who learned this track quickly was Al Unser Jr. We asked him about Trois-Rivières and especially the new pits here at the track.
I've never been here before, so I really don't know how they used to be. But the fact that they're real small here now it's very tough, and it's going to be quite dangerous in the pit area when we do make our one stop during the race. The people are really going to have to keep an eye out for the cars coming down the pits and so on, and the drivers are going to have to do the same.
Well, that's just what Unser is doing now, making his pit stop for gas. His crew are ready. And we have a clock on him. Took about 10 seconds here, and he'll be away. Nope, something is wrong now. The car should have moved out. He stalled it momentarily. Okay, he's got it moving. Oh, it stalls out again. I would guess here probably electronic problems in the machine. Crew members are now arriving on the scene. They'll try to give him a push start. Oh, will they have any success here? And now there is more action in the pits. There's Danny Sullivan, the Paul Newman Budweiser March. Now he's making his one pit stop. John Morton also in for gas. Interesting to see who'll be out first here. Unser's out of his car. Oh, that's a tough break for this 20-year-old who blew it away on the pit stop. Danny Sullivan storms out of the pits. And now Bertil Roos has stalled. He is, I don't know, perhaps run out of fuel at the pit entrance. They're trying to push that car into the pits. Al Holbert still in first place in the BDS owned by Count van der Straten. He won the Can-Am here last year, and that early pit stop has obviously paid off for him. This is Jim Truman, number 25. He's in first place in the 2-liter class. He's been driving steadily and obviously avoiding the walls. Al Holbert, number 1 in number 1 position from Warrington, Pennsylvania. And here's the only man that can steal that first place from him, Jim Crawford, his first ever time in Canada and his first Can-Am, and it has been profitable. In third position, number 5, Danny Sullivan. He was 5th here last year, and I suppose that's an improvement. Well, maybe he'll have to explain things to his owner, Paul Newman. Who knows? Al Holbert rounds Villeneuve Corner on his way down Villeneuve Avenue, and there's the checkered flag along with $24,000. Jim Crawford in the Ensign Formula One car crossing the line in second, and I know that his is a name that we'll be hearing much more about. Just a super fall afternoon in this delightful town of Trois-Rivières, filled with enthusiastic race fans. And now, let's go down to the winner's circle.
De la Can-Am Budweiser 1982 et lui présenter le trophée Labatt. And now the winner of the Budweiser Can-Am from Pennsylvania, Al Holbert.
Al Holbert, a very worthy winner, receives garlands from Pierre Desjardins, president of the Labatt Brewing Company Limited, along with a beautiful Eskimo sculpture. And that's it for CTV's Wide World of Sports, from the streets of Trois-Rivières and the Grand Prix Labatt de Trois-Rivières.
Still operating, the Grand Prix of Trois-Rivières is the oldest street race in North America. Not much has changed with the layout of the track. It was great seeing Danny Sullivan, Al Unser Jr., as well as Canadian Hall of Famers Jacques Villeneuve Sr., Epi Wietzis, Richard Spinard, and the races were voiced by Jim Martin, who was inducted in 2021. Thanks for watching. Please check out the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame at cmhf.ca. Thanks for watching.
From the Vault is brought to you by M-Zone, premium auto care proudly owned and made by Canadians. By Recap Recovery Drink. By WeatherTech. For the perfect fit and ultimate in-vehicle protection, nothing protects like WeatherTech. Order online at weathertech.ca. And by the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. Visit our website for Hall merchandise.